say. That's good.
Hello, hello.
Morning, everybody. Thank you for the effort to be here. It's kind of been a crazy couple of days. I think all of us in this room, more so than others, have been affected by what's happened. I think most of us have been affected in this room by what's happened weather-wise. I'm glad everybody's safe and sane, and just keep it that way. Hopefully Edison will get us back up on track with power here over the next couple of days. My name is Joe Jusko. In my day job, I'm a commercial industrial real estate broker with Lee & Associates. I've worked the Simi Valley market extensively for over 40 years, and I'm proud and I'm happy to have brought in a number of numerous businesses, employees, and economic benefit here to the city of Simi Valley. I'm also one of the many volunteers on the board of directors with the Chamber, and I also contribute my thoughts and input with regards to the Chamber of Commerce of Economic Development Committee as well. We have an informative and varied agenda on the docket for today, and we're happy for the great turnout, so thank you very much again. Starting off, I'd like to acknowledge some of the dignitaries and members of the groups that are here today. Luis Garabe, Assistant City Manager and Head of Economic Development for the city, please wave or stand. We have Mike Court, Community Liaison for Ventura County Supervisor Janice Parvin, District 4. Mike. And also Janice Parvin herself as well. We have Kathy Van Etten, to my left, the CEO and President of our 5-Star Chamber. We have Anthony Angelini, Director of Tourism and Government Affairs. We have Mary Beth Jacobson. She is the Director of Workforce Development for the City of Simi Valley. We have Vicente, and pardon if I get your pronunciation wrong, Nacarario. He is the Workforce Development Board for Ventura County. We have Richard Lemo. With the Recreation and Parks. And last but least, we have Jason Jaffe with Steelwave, who's going to tell us all about the city's We have Elaine Litzer. Mr. John Tolson. We have Heather Sumagayasai. I pronounced that for sure. And Nikki Lian. Okay. So let's go over the program, how it's going to work here. Get my docs. Okay, well, today's meeting will begin with a brief update from our talented and dedicated leaders in our community we just mentioned. Each speaker will have approximately 2 minutes to share their thoughts and concepts. There'll be a few questions for each after each speaker. Following the updates, we'll introduce our featured speaker, Jason Jaffe of Steelwave, share his thoughts and insights on the future of the Simi Valley Town Center that they have. We'll open the floor for questions and discussion. Please be respectful and considerate in addressing Jason, and keep your questions brief and focused on the topic, and keep your mindset collaborative. And we intend to wrap this up around 9:15 or so as well. So let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. John, you want to lead us, please?
You betcha. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Luis, how about coming to the front here, illustrate and input.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Luis Garibay. I am the Assistant City Manager at the City of Simi Valley. I also have the privilege of overseeing the economic development activities for the city. So given that we have a very short amount of time, I'm going to focus in on three things. One, some of the film activity that's happening here in Simi Valley and the greater area, our small business loan program, and then I think for a lot of what you're here today to hear about is some on the retail front and what the city is doing to try to fill some of these empty storefronts today. So first on the film start, although the year started off pretty slow, we ended with a bang. In 2024, there was over 263 projects that took place that equated to about 363 filming days. For those that aren't familiar with filming, we have a great studio space here, outdoor shoots, and actually the Simi Valley Town Center has been a great partner in terms of bringing new filming activity here. From a small business perspective, what that creates is new business opportunities to support our local restaurants, fill in our local hotels, and bring in new revenue because of the money that they're spending on equipment rentals and all these other things that support the film industry here in the Simi Valley. Second is a small business loan program. In partnership with the Economic Development Cooperative, we're proud to say that we've been able to help over 8 businesses and loan out over $600,000 to help support small businesses here in Simi Valley. You know, times have been very difficult for the business community in general. So we're proud that we're being able to be a lending hand to help support some of our businesses, make investments into their businesses, keep their businesses alive, and support their activities and their employees here in the Simi Valley area. And then just lastly, on the retail front, I know you've heard and seen, and even driven around town and seen some of the vacancies in town. Some things are outside our control, as you probably know, national trends for some of these larger corporations like Party City, TGI Fridays most recently, 99 Cent Store and others have created vacancies in our community. So the mayor and council have made a very strong effort and have dedicated staff to ensure that we can invest time and resources to make sure that we can find new retailers to fill in some of those spaces. And also working with the property owners and the brokers to make sure that we work through the entitlement process and permitting process to make it as easy as possible for those businesses that are looking to open or relocate here in town, and to know that Simi Valley is a friendly community and that we are here to help. If you or any of your business partners need any help, have any questions, and from the city standpoint, please don't hesitate to reach out here in our Economic Development Department of the city, myself, or any of the staff there as well. So thank you very much for your time, and I'll be around after if there's any questions on specific things, or if you want to hear get the rumor mill started on who's coming into the Simi Valley area soon. Thank you.
Next, Janice Parkman with East County Economic Development Information.
You said East County. That's okay. That's right. So how many of you have someone that you know that lost their home over the past couple of days? It's a lot. It's been devastating. My husband said, quit saying that word. But all of the time that I'm working, I'm always working closely with our fire department. And I'm also working closely with Edison. And I asked Glenn Becerra if there were any executives from Edison here today so I could actually talk about them a little bit. He said no. So I just want to give you an example of how difficult it can be to work with Edison as an elected official. I contacted him last night because there was a fire going on near Simi Valley, and there's no power, so they couldn't pump water. So because they couldn't pump water, of course I called my Edison rep who didn't pick up. And so then I called a retired Edison rep who did pick up and followed up with it. Unfortunately, the answer wasn't what I was looking for, so I had to go to plan 2, which was call the fire department, call the fire chief, and get water out there now, because they can't pump water. Anyway, those are the kind of things that I deal with on a kind of regular basis. We haven't had this many fires ever that I can recall, but I work collaboratively with these people, and because I have good relationships with them, it really helps. The fire got put out, In fact, I got drowned, which was what I was looking for. I also want to talk a little bit about our fire department, just countywide. We should be so proud of the work that they do. Unlike LA County, because we are very much unlike LA County, we didn't defund our fire department. So they're fully funded by all of you property taxpayers, and they're there for us when we need them, and we aren't going to cut back on that. Also trying to improve efficiencies. I will be the incoming chair for the county this year, starting next Tuesday, if things go to plan. And I'm really looking forward to it. I've already kind of shocked them a little bit by saying, I know we always do it this way, but we're going to change the way we run meetings. We're going to run them more efficiently for the public and for our staff. So you'll be seeing some changes in how the county runs their meetings. And even though nobody likes change, we're changing it. Thank you very much.
Okay, next up, office industrial space update, that'll be me. The Simi Valley office market has some interesting and positive trends this past Q3. Q4 data is still being analyzed and put into the report. Total inventory for office space in Simi Valley right now is 1,100,000 square feet. Current vacancy is about 7%. What does that mean? That's greater or less than the greater Ventura County average of 13% and half the vacancy of Canal Valley, which is almost 18%. So we're doing really well in that regard. A very notable addition to our Simi Valley office community is a recent purchase of an 8,000 square foot office building near Madera and Royal Avenue in the Wood Ranch Professional Center. It was purchased by Visible Graphics, which is a locally based family business with national coverage in the very high profile commercial signage and graphics business. Their product lines are in anywhere from Dodger Stadium to many retail, restaurants, and shopping centers, including this one here. Our industrial real estate sector continues to hang in there as well, with 10 million square feet of total inventory and a current vacancy factor of about 7%. New speculative construction has caused the vacancy rate to rise, but hopefully eventual absorption of this newly constructed product will get us back down to a lower vacancy and help stabilize the market economics. As there are currently some aggressive incentives being offered to tenants by these landlords that are not typical for some of these larger buildings. Relatively new to the market is a very high profile, high image, 63,000 square foot freestanding building on West Hills Court, right near Costco. Private campus environment, heavy power, good power distribution, fully air conditioned, and heavy office improvements. There's information on that project as well as market information on Ventura County on the table over there. Here in Simi Valley, we provide relatively flexible industrial zoning matrices and a wide variety of existing building options ranging from what we refer to as incubator sizes in the sub 3,000 square foot range up to larger buildings up to 250,000 square feet. City staff and Luis's team, the city manager's office, are very helpful in working with businesses to get through the red tape. On a side note, the city has about a $275 million annual operating budget, over 500 full-time employees. We're the third largest of the 10 cities in Ventura County. Excuse me. And a population of around 130,000 people. Next up is Kathy Van Etten.
Sorry. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our first Economic Development Committee meeting for the year. We're changing our format a little bit of this meeting. It used to be a monthly meeting where we would meet, it used to be before COVID at the chamber, and we'd have about 20 people in the room. I know, Gloria, you were there. And we'd hear from all of the city leaders. But we decided we're going to do these quarterly and have a featured speaker because we know how important that is. We didn't come to see me or any of the other speakers. We know you're here to learn about the town center. We want to bring these topics to you as for the public. So that's what the chamber's doing, kind of to bridge that gap a little bit more so you can learn what's going on in the community. Some of the things that are coming up that the chamber's working on is the job fair. We have a mega job fair on February 25th. It will be at the St. Peter Claver West Hall. We usually get about 100 employers there and about 500 job seekers. So if you're looking to get a new job, or if you're hiring, please reach out to the chamber. We are here to help. It's a free event. You don't pay for anything. Tables are there and everything. So it's a way people are still looking for work and people are still looking for employees. One other big thing that we do to bring a lot of business to Simi Valley is our street fair. How many have been to the street fair before? Everybody, pretty much. If you haven't, you need to check it out. We have over 380 businesses or vendors there that are building their businesses, and it's a really great way for the smaller businesses to meet the public in Simi Valley and for to grow our economy. And I know Mary Beth is going to speak about something exciting that's coming up for workforce, so we'll hear from her in a little bit, but I thank you again for coming. The chamber is here for you if you need anything. We are the problem solvers in the community. We know all of the city leaders, and we can put you in touch with whoever you need to if you're having an issue. Thank you.
Next up, Anthony Angelini.
Yay!
Hi everyone, I'm Anthony Angelini. I'm the Director of Tourism and Government Affairs for the Chamber. How many people follow Visit Simi Valley on Facebook or Instagram? If you don't, you should. You can learn a lot about Simi Valley. I'm constantly finding out about events that I had no idea were happening, because that's my own Instagram that I have to manage, but I'm like, wow, look at that. So, the Simi Valley Chamber Tourism Alliance is a partnership between the city, the chamber, and the 6 hotels in town. We have about 700 rooms, a little bit under 700 rooms, and our job is to promote Simi Valley, elevate Simi Valley, and make Simi Valley a marketable place to come and stay in a hotel room. We've had a banner year this year. I just got our numbers back from November. Don't have December yet, but we hit 70%. During the summer, we hit 80% occupancy, which is actually huge. So there is, occupancy rates are very high in the city, and our ability to attract people to our city is doing very well. We do things like sponsor events. There's an upcoming event on January 19th, the Say Yes Wedding Expo. That is going to be huge because weddings are also a big driver for tourism. Another thing is film shoots, as Luis was talking about. Another thing is obviously the Reagan Library, our #1 driver. So what we do is we support events, we promote the city, we run the social media, and we do advertisements around the world for Simi Valley as a local destination. So if you don't follow Visit Simi, you should check it out, and yeah, that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. Next up, education and job training with Mary Beth Jacobson, please.
Good morning, and thank you all for joining us here today. It's really a pleasure to be able to have the opportunity to chat with you folks. So, for a number of years, I have been active with the Chamber in workforce development issues. Started probably 10 years ago with Lee Nixon with our workforce development efforts. And I'm going to just touch on a couple of things that we're doing. We work collaboratively with the school board in trying to get our businesses and our students together so that the kids have a sense of what it really means to have a job and be in a workplace. So just a couple of things that we're doing. We are very actively recruiting businesses to go into classrooms and speak with kids. Let me tell you about one speaker we had. This fellow's name is Don DePangalangan. It turned out that he was a helicopter pilot during Desert Storm. And while he was transporting SEAL Team 3, he got shot down. So he got shot down. His co-pilot's a female. She pulls him out of the helicopter. They have to fight off the enemy for like half an hour before they get rescued. Whole thing resolves well, but these kids hearing this story, I mean, they were on the edge of their seats, right? This is TV for them, and this guy is talking about it being real life. And then what he did is he blended it into a leadership conversation and taught them. Leadership doesn't mean that you stand up in front of a group and you tell people what they're gonna do. Leadership means that you recognize what other people know that you don't know, that you need to know, and you go and you listen to them. And the way you pay it back is by paying it forward with somebody else. Great day for our kids. And there are all kinds of stories like that come up. Again, the 30-second thing. Okay, so another program that we have is what we call STEM Equity Tours. And we bring together our girls to meet with women who work in STEM in the area. And we have arranged with Parker Hannafin to bring 25 girls to Parker Megan on March 13th. There's going to be a panel of women in STEM to talk to our girls, and then they're going to give us lunch. And these girls are going to get to sit at the table with women who are successful in STEM in our community. Great opportunity. If anybody here is interested in speaking with the students, I can make it easy for you. It's always fun. We're looking for people who work in, all different kinds of businesses. Please come and seek me out, and we will talk about how we can have you interact with our kids. Also, another new project for us is the Manufacturing Roundtable. There is a really robust manufacturing sector here in the Simi Valley Ward Park area. And what we are going to do is create opportunities for those manufacturers to get together and collaborate so that they can learn from what each other is doing, they can work together to get contracts, and we can succeed even more than we already have. So if you are a manufacturer, please come find me and I will get you on the list and have you get the opportunity to meet your colleagues who are here in the area. I will be here after all the speakers have concluded, and it would be my pleasure to have the opportunity to chat with you. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mary Beth.
You're welcome.
Next up is Vicente Nacario. Did I pronounce that properly?
Oh, Nacario.
Nacario. On-the-job training subsidies, representing the Workforce Development Board of Ventura County.
Morning, everybody. Morning. My name is Vicente Nacario. I work for Ventura County Works is funded through the Workforce Development Board of Ventura County, and it's funded through federal Department of Labor program called the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. And what we do is we serve both job seekers and employers, and try to connect qualified job seekers with employers that need basically assistance in training a new workforce. And what we do is basically, actually we're located at 2 locations. Actually we're located at different locations, but our main location is in Oxnard. But also we have a satellite site here in 900 East Madera in Simi Valley. But we do offer training for our job seekers who are looking for work and has been out of work and been laid off recently, and those that are just kind of seeking jobs, and we also help them with training, basically attaining those new skills. But we also work with employers and connecting them with these trained individuals. And one of the products that we have is a work-based learning program called on-the-job training. And that gives you an opportunity basically as businesses to hire somebody that we train or we are helping, and basically bringing you a new employee that if you're looking to expand or grow, you can help them with basically a subsidy through this program that can pay for half the salary for approximately 6 months, or at a time maybe about $10,000 worth. So it's a good program. It offers these subsidies and help you grow. If you're a business that's looking to grow and looking to train somebody, and it's specific training that you want to provide for your new employee, we can match you with some individuals that may be qualified for those programs, and we can help you find those individuals and kind of make them eligible for the program and kind of assist you in growing your businesses. So if you have any interest in that, we'll be in the back over here later, and it's a great program for everybody, for our businesses who wants to grow and connect people with the job seekers that use our program. Thank you.
next up is the Rancho Simi Recreation and Park District update with Richard Lemo.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Richard Lemo with the Rancho Simi Recreation and Park District. I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce for allowing the Park District a little bit of time to tell you what we have going on for the year 2025. Very excited. Our board is starting to take new shape as we thank Lane Freeman and Kate O'Brien for a combined over 40 years of service on our board of directors. So sad to see them go, but at the same token, quite excited to work with two new board members, Kimberly Cofield and Eric Lundstrom. And so with the new board takes shape, obviously, a bit of a new or renewed vision. And I want to share a little bit about what that looks like as it pertains to hopefully some economic development in town. Now, we've got two goals as it pertains to economic development. We want to make sure that we maximize accessibility to folks that live in town, and we want to be an attractive destination for folks that are coming from out of town, whether it be for sporting events, tournaments, special events, things of that nature. We've got a network of trails that are absolutely the gold standard in Southern California. People come from all over. One absolute silver lining during COVID was we were able to stay open. We were a way for people to prioritize their physical and mental wellness, which leads nicely into our next point and something that's important for 2025. One of the very first orders of business of our new board of directors was to kind of renew or amend our mission statement. A very modest change, but one that will end up being monumental in the long run. We've amended that to accentuate the fact that we're committed to mental health and wellness. So as you look at our mission statement, you can go on our website and see it, rsrpd.org. You can see we've added the word mental wellness to both the physical fitness and the other aspects of what make Rancho Simi so great. So I'm going to share with you, with my last 30 seconds, a couple of projects that hopefully achieve all those goals, maximizing accessibility and making sure that we've got great amenities in town for you. Rancho Santa Susana Community Park. For those of you that don't know, it is not fully completed. There is going to be a last phase that will be completed hopefully this year, which will give us a little bit better maximization of space, more fields, some volleyball, outdoor volleyball courts, and some better parking at the facility. So that's one thing that you can look forward to. Another project that we'll start to see come to the forefront in 2025 is our activity center at 4201 Guardian Street. Phase 3 is going to have a ton of great elements. On our website, you can see all of them. Again, it's rsrpd.org. And thank you for the opportunity to talk to you today.
Okay, last but not least, we introduce Jason Jaffe with Steelwave LLC to talk about the Simi Town Center.
Give me 1 second, so I can get this up here. It should come up in just a second. I think the projector takes a moment to turn on here. But I'm glad to be here. My name is Jason Jaffe, and I'm actually with Steer Point Capital. We happen to make it really confusing. We own the property with another group called Steelwave. So two companies with exceptionally similar names that actually we didn't know each other before we bought the property together. So we just think it's fun to make it difficult to remember who's who. But I'm glad to be here. So I head up leasing and asset management for Steer Point Capital, and I'll get to a little bit about us in a second. But we own and manage, this is our 6th retail project on the West Coast. We're West Coast based, we're Los Angeles based, and this is actually our latest acquisition here. So we started about 2 or 3 years ago. Most of us came from different large REITs in the United States. I came from Westfield personally, where I started in finance and asset management. I moved into leasing, and then I ended up heading up the commercial leasing and healthcare leasing groups there before I moved over to Steer Point. When I started at Steer Point, we had 3 assets. We now have 8, so it's been great to watch it grow, and this is the one that really kind of hits home. It's the one the closest to where I'm from. I'm from the San Fernando Valley. I actually got married in Simi Valley, believe it or not. not the best weather, it's 109 degrees, so outdoor wedding, kind of fun. But this is a place that's near and dear to me. All of LA really is, and so I know that everyone's going through a lot with the fires right now, myself included, but I'm happy that we've all come out together. Like I mentioned, we own this with Steel Wave, who we got introduced to about a year ago. This is our first acquisition together. And Steel Wave is a vertically integrated owner and developer projects, which helps us out a lot. We don't have an in-house construction group, so this was an interesting thing to get started with. So let's talk a little bit about the town center, because we've been looking at this, or we actually started looking at this several months prior to acquiring it. And it was interesting to us for a number of reasons. When we started looking at this, and we knew a lot about this area, we kind of realized that Simi Valley really was a community that was kind of screaming for something to do. And we hear the same sentiment from a lot of people, that on a Friday night, if you want to go get a meal, you're going to drive to Porter Ranch, you're going to drive to Moore Park, you're going to drive to Thousand Oaks, maybe like Woodland Hills area. But the main point is there's not a lot to do right here. There's not a lot to do within the city. And it kind of reminded me, being from LA, it reminded me a lot of Porter Ranch, right? Because 10 years ago, if you told someone, I'm gonna go out to dinner at Porter Ranch, they probably wouldn't have known where Porter Ranch was, and if they did, they would have been like, you know, like, where are you even going, right? And what we saw happen in Porter Ranch was they built the vineyards, and that put Porter Ranch on the map. And we saw huge brands coming in there, and it didn't just cater to Porter Ranch. You know, Porter Ranch, initially people would go, if they lived there, they were going to Northridge, they were going to Canoga Park, wherever. And they built the vineyards. Everyone in Porter Ranch started staying there, and people elsewhere, I mean, people from Sherman Oaks and Studio City go there now for meals. And it's really quite surprising. It kind of flipped the script on the whole area. And that's why we like it here. We see that opportunity here. And so we looked at that, right? And we can see this, right? We know that people who live in Simi are frequently going to Porter Ranch to dine. I think that's our closest competition, if you will. But you know, I think it's more of a little more complimentary than that. But we know that people aren't coming here, and that's what we want to start seeing happening. And so when we started looking at the project, and I promise you, if you let me talk, I will actually have some really nice pictures to show you that we just got in last night. But so when we looked at this, the first thing we said was, well, what went wrong? Because this was a huge development. This had a lot of fanfare when it was open, I remember it. And we first had to identify what went wrong. And by the way, this was all before we even acquired it. We wanted to make sure we were really doing the right thing here. And what we realized was this place was delivered nearly 100% apparel and soft goods. There was very little dining. There's no grocery. There wasn't a lot of that stuff. There's two banks. I still don't really know why they built two banks in the front. But that's what was initially built, and it didn't work out. And I think it didn't work out because it was a place just to come and get your clothes and leave, and it wasn't an organic place to make memories and an organic place to spend time with your family. And so then we started turning attention to how do we get that done? And when we started looking into it, we then noticed historically the town center actually used to look a little bit different. That where Studio Movie Grill, that didn't used to exist. That little keyhole parking lot cutout, that wasn't there initially, and they added that. And all of a sudden, what did that do? It kind of proved our theory. It created an area over there. You know, in real estate, in retail real estate, we'll talk about power centers, neighborhood centers, promotional centers, and lifestyle centers. And it created a lifestyle center over there, which was something that this area didn't have. And now, you know, if you look at an aerial of this, you would say, well, naturally, this where we are right now should be the center of the action. There's the most restaurants, or at least there was initially, but it's not. That really is the center of the action. When we walk here and we see where's the entertainment, where's this stuff happening, that's where it's happening, and it improves our concept. But we know that where we are really could be the center of the action. And it's not lost to me. I know that Sycamore Drive, I know that Tapo Canyon are the center of the action. I get it, right? Like geographically, that is kind of in the middle by 1 mile. So it's not like we're that far away, and so we know that there's an opportunity to create something really meaningful here. And so I'm going to show you guys one plan. This was a very initial plan that we got with our architects on what to do here, because we know that this is a little bit overbuilt. And when you look at what was delivered, 2 ended up being very redundant department stores were delivered here. And so we know that there's an amount of retail that's overbuilt, and we're not exactly sure what that amount is. And like I said, we are retail people through and through. All of us came from retail, and we do retail real estate. But we know there's an amount of retail that's overbuilt. And so we see an opportunity to bring in low density, for sale housing here. Now, I know a lot of developers have come here. Festival was one, there was one before, and they came in and they said, we know it's right for Simi. We know what we're gonna do. We're gonna tear the whole thing down and we're gonna build housing up until every property line, highest density possible. And we know that's not right, what's right here. We know that really the community's gonna tell us what's right. And we're not here to tell you guys and to tell Simi Valley what's right for the community. We want to hear that input. So we've met with a lot of people. We've met with all the council members. We've met with a lot of stakeholders, and we're open to hearing from everyone. So I will show you one plan that we started seeing here. And that would be this. So it starts with the revitalization of the Macy's box. We start with that. We know that there's a need. Everyone says sporting goods. That's like the one thing. If everyone can agree on one thing, it's where the sporting goods. So we want to bring in a Dick's Sporting Goods or a similar retailer onto the first floor of the Macy's West box, and then bring on another more entertainment-focused retailer to the second floor. We want to bring in a lot more restaurants. Restaurants that really cater to what we do here. Not just fast casual, we want enough sit-down dining that we're not seeing people leaving the community constantly to go get their meals. And so what we've done is, and it's right where that Dick's and the Studio Movie Grill and that yellow box is, that's really where we see our lifestyle portion of the property occurring. This is where we see the community gathering place. This is where we see, and I promised you, but there will be images in a second, where we see there being places for kids to play, and play structures and grass and people to hang out. And then as you move further down towards the other end of the property, we get more into daily needs. We see an opportunity to bring in a grocery here. There's obviously a lot of grocery stores, but something smaller format, like a second Trader Joe's, something like that we want to bring in here. And then on the front side of the property, we have a Starbucks that everyone loves and we're very happy with it, but we see an opportunity to bring in a couple more pad uses. And pads are freestanding buildings, typically restaurants. And there's quite a few restaurants that are interested in pad opportunities. They don't necessarily want to be in line. There's some restaurants that like it, others don't. But we see an opportunity that way we can kind of create this holistic kind of ecosystem and this circulation within the property. And we're not dialing back the amount of retail we have. We're taking the retail and we're putting it into meaningful places, and we're increasing that base into a format that works for today's retailers and today's consumers. Now you can see the housing that we've talked about over here, and this was an initial option that we received when consulting with our architects. Certainly does not mean this is where it's going to land. I think that there's a lot more design that could go into this as well, but it's an opportunity. But I will stress that we really believe in. You can tell me if I'm wrong on this. I don't think I am wrong, but we're not looking to do rental housing apartments. We want to do for sale. We think that there's, like I said, we do retail. So what we want is something that complements the retail first and foremost. And I see that, and we see that as people who own their properties, and they can plant their flag in the ground. They can create something that belongs to them here, and they have an ownership stake in the community. I know there's apartments right behind us that I guess lease pretty well, but at the end of the day, we think that Simi Valley is special because people live here and they create families here and they stay here, and they create something meaningful here. I've heard from so many people. I know Glenn Becerra's back there, and I know he used to go fishing with his dad right here where the town center is built. But we know that people, they raise their families in Simi Valley, and they stay here, and the schools are great, and then they become grandparents here, and their kids have kids. And there's that kind of element that we don't want to lose, and that's why we think that for sale housing makes a lot of sense here. Whether it's detached housing, if it's townhomes, it's low density, but it's something that really complements what we've done here. And at the same time, if you put a couple hundred units of housing here, that's not enough to support the town center. It's not even close enough to support the town center. So what needs to be delivered here and what we're aiming to deliver here is something that doesn't just work for these very local residents here, but work for everyone in Simi Valley, and it creates a real center of gravity, right? And something that really impacts the city in a way where there's a place for people to go, and a place for, it's not just an area that's localized here to the town and country master plan development, but an area, as far down, as Tabo King and further, and this is that kind of gravitational area, and people from Moore Park can start coming here, and we kind of create this real ecosystem. So I promised you pictures. And by the way, we just got these like at like 9 o'clock last night, so I've had a few seconds to look at them, but I think they look really nice. And this is kind of where we can see this going. And so we can see here, we're all the way on the west side here. We have the Dick's Sporting Goods, or whoever ends up going there to fulfill that kind of sporting goods gap. We have an upstairs user, whether it's 1 space or if it's 2 spaces or 3 spaces, we haven't quite figured that out yet. It's going to depend on what the demand looks like. But you can see bringing in restaurants front facing, all of a sudden you kind of activate as you're driving downtown Center Way. You can start to kind of feel the energy, and there's places to go. You know, if it's BJ's, if it's Yard House, if it's Cooper's Hawk, what have you. So this is that elevation as you get a little bit closer. And we want, we don't want to lose the vibe that we have here. There's this kind of like nice like Tuscan vibes, like Santa Barbara vibe, and that's something that we intend to keep. There's some nice stuff that Porter Ranch certainly did, but it's not something that I think would make sense given the way that there's a whole look and feel of Simi Valley that we're looking to maintain here. This is coming in from the other side, same view you saw before. And now now we're back to that kind of lifestyle area. And so there's a collection of restaurants that we foresee happening here. There's a collection of nice retail, and this is kind of that area where you can park your car and you can start hitting a lot of different restaurants and you can hang out, and it's a place you can kind of be, right? It's shady, it's a nice area to be in the city, and this is kind of that lower view of that. And this is where we see it really activating. So I know there's Go Fish Sushi over there, and I think they'll be a great player to have here. There's a number of great players that we want we want to retain the tenancy, right? We acquired the town center because there's tenants here that are happy, and we want to retain them. And this is how we see kind of activating that a little bit better. I think I may have one more image. Yep, one more image. Now we're down really where we are right now. Red Robin in the front. We see an activation potentially over here facing forward towards the parking lot. But it's something that we're really proud of, and again, I would love to hear everyone's feedback here. You should write down my information because my business cards were in the room that my dad, who's evacuated, is staying in, so I didn't want to wake him up this morning and get my business cards. So this is my information, Jason Jaffe. I'm on the left side here. My cell phone number, you can call me, you can text me, you can email me. If you have thoughts tomorrow that you forgot to bring up today, feel free to give me a call. I'd love to hear it. But if there's questions, I'm happy to kind of answer some of your guys' questions. Yeah.
So how do your plans affect the existing tenants?
Yeah, that's a great question. Look, yeah, the question is, what would be the plan for existing tenants? And what I'd say is we acquired the town center because we wanted to acquire tenants. We didn't buy raw land. So we for any tenants that want to remain here, for any tenants that are in a zone that would be impacted by any of this, I'll go back to the plan here in a second. This is pretty movable, right? Like we can keep a lot of the retail, we can revitalize a lot of the retail that we have. We have no intention for any tenants to leave that want to be here. We think there's more than enough space to go around, and I think you can see that when you walk around here, there's more than enough space to go around. There's a lot of unused space. So what we're looking to do is to repurpose the unused space, not repurpose the used space.
Thank you.
Yep.
Looking at that, you cut your parking areas by 50% or better. And if you're putting in low density housing, how are you gonna accommodate for the extra traffic? Because you don't seem to have a plan for traffic and people to maneuver around. We have a lot of things up there like the, oh shoot. That's what
I get what you're asking. You're asking what's the plan for traffic? What's the plan for the new people coming in, where they can move and where they can park? So I'll start by saying this property is very overparked. There's a lot of parking here, and I think you can see that right now. And when a 140,000 square foot Macy's box comes down, that parking ratio is gonna go through the roof. I think we're currently right around five spots per thousand. So that's gonna increase significantly once you take it down a lot of that square footage. But parking, I understand parking is critical. I live in LA too. The worst thing is when you show up somewhere and it's jammed up and it's poorly parked. So there will ultimately be a lot of traffic studies and a lot of parking studies based on what the final plan is and based on community's feedback. But I can't say this property will remain overparked. We don't want to cut down the amount of parking. Our goal is to make something that's easy to get into and easy to get out of, not something that's jammed up. At the end of the day, people aren't gonna wanna come here if parking is a challenge. People aren't gonna want, and retailers aren't gonna wanna come here either. Everyone, I don't know, I think it's like a big joke in LA, right? Like, Trader Joe's always has the worst parking lots. And I think it creates people not wanting to be in those parking lots. So, parking is critical for us, and making sure people have easy access in and easy access out is critical as well. Yeah.
One of the criticisms of the town center over the years has been the fact that since it's not enclosed and this is a very windy area, it's not comfortable to be there. So have weather patterns or wind patterns been considered in this design so that people who are frequenting it will not be blown over the winds up here?
That's a great question. We haven't done specific studies yet on that, but the area that will be that lifestyle portion where people are hanging out, we'll make sure it's very protected. So that's why we like that area. It's protected already by buildings, but we will be we'll be installing a lot more to ensure that people are comfortable. It goes back to retailers in the community aren't going to want to be here if every time it's like a wind tunnel. So we're in tune with that. Like I said, it was up 109 degrees when I got married in Simi Valley, so I understand people don't like to be in 109-degree weather. Yeah.
What percentage of the current wall is going to be removed? I see up there, it looks like you're going to have a single group of buildings where we now have two different areas. So if you're looking at that, it looks like you're going to eliminate one area.
So this is not a final plan, so I don't have specific numbers on how that percentage moves. What I can say is the vast majority of the square footage that would be removed is that Macy's box right over there. That's 140,000 square feet. That's the one area. And by the way, I'll say this: we've looked at other options to keep that and re-tenant it, and we're certainly open to that. From what we've seen, that's the one most challenging part of this property is filling that one Macy's box. So, and no one, I know there's like a holiday experience in there right now that Jason Strickland put together, which we love. And that's temporary. So that's really the one spot. Everything else that's over here, you can kind of see this plan jogs down right towards the west. It could be moved very, very easily. And so we're working through that. It's going to really come down to how much retail can this property support. And we want to have the most amount of retail the property can possibly support. Yeah.
Hey, Jason, I just want to make a quick point about the parking. That all the housing that's proposed will have parking. So,
Oh yeah, sorry, that's a great point.
Garages provided for those housing.
That's a great point. They're standalone. That's a standalone piece there. No one in the housing is parking in the town center. They all have their own enclosed garages. We've talked about having garages that are accessible within the townhomes. You're not sharing garages if you're living there. But there's no crossover of parking. There's pedestrian crossover, and I think you can see that in one of these images that we have here. You can kind of see in this one. There will be a lot of places for pedestrians to walk through, but we don't have any, access to the townhomes, the detached housing, what have you, would not be going through the mall. They would be two totally distinct areas.
Hey, Jason, one last question.
Yeah.
And this is a softball. Talk about your commitment to Simi Valley. Like, a lot of people are worried that somebody's gonna come in, re-tenant it, and then sell it.
Yeah, let me say this: we've never sold a property. We frequently use the term generational holds because we mean that. We don't ever intend to sell properties. We don't buy properties and move out of them. Everything we've acquired, we have no intention of selling. We buy it because we like it. We buy it because we want to continue operating it. I've been in companies when they sell these properties, and I think it does damage, I think, a little bit to the community, and it's not something that we intend to do. Where we buy, we call ourselves basis buyers. We buy at the right basis, and we operate in perpetuity. So yeah, we have no intention of selling any of our properties, including this one.
Question.
Yeah.
There's a lot of retail, restaurants, housing. Is there any thought about putting like a Topgolf or something? That would
Yeah.
bring in a lot of, it's an adult thing.
No, I love Topgolf. I would love to.
People would come from all over.
The problem with Topgolf, as much as I love it, and people have said like Bass Pro Shops as well, the problem with both of those is it would take up the entire town center and then some. The parking fields, and I mean Topgolf specifically, but the parking fields that the Bass Pro and Topgolf requires, as well as the space, is enormous. It would, and I'm not being hyperbolic, it would be the entire town center. So I love it, but those are usually, it's like the same as a Costco, those are kind of like best positioned for like raw land. Because I mean, I'm not closed off to it, I wouldn't want to raise the entire town center for one user. Yeah.
So, as somebody who's myself pretty familiar with the mall and being part of the beginning of this mall, one thing I feel the mall truly missed was not having an it factor. What's your plan to give the mall its it factor? Because I see as a restaurateur in town, the problem with Simi Valley is nobody wants to come into Simi Valley. And if you have the same things as everybody else, originally this was a Robinson's May that got bought out by Macy's, so that became a problem. But there's Macy's all surrounding Simi Valley. So if you're gonna put businesses here that are in Woodland Hills, that are in Porter Ridge, that are in Chatsworth, Thousand Oaks, people from Thousand Oaks aren't coming here, Westlake's not coming here. What's your plan to bring people from outside of Simi Valley? Because once again, owner of the restaurant, Monday through Thursday, if your weekends can't cover a Monday through Thursday, then those restaurants aren't gonna succeed. Yeah. It's a big problem for Simi Valley. Coming over that hill from West Valley is a big detraction because people in their mind think it's so far. So, you know, when you say a Dick's, there's a Dick's in Thousand Oaks. So once again, nobody from Thousand Oaks is gonna come to Simi Valley to go shop at Dick's. And is Simi Valley gonna be big enough to support such a large retail space?
Yeah, great question. So I'll say we do believe Simi Valley is large enough to support this on its own. Having said that, the center would be well off if it could bring in other places. So, you know, I want to start by keeping attention on Simi because I think that's the most important community to be serving. After that, obviously, I'd be looking towards Moore Park and Thousand Oaks. But I agree with your point. I think a lot of developers do come in and it's a formula, right? Like they just put the cookie cutter down and they say, well, we'll stick a Mendocino Farms here and we'll stick a Jersey Mike's here and we'll stick a this there. And it's like, you're right? Like all of a sudden, everyone in Thousand Oaks is like, why would I go here? Because I have every single one of those brands already 1 mile away. Why would I need to go to this? And so I think there's a local flavor that is important to retain here. And that's why I think there's some critical tendency that exists at the property that we don't want to lose and that we really need to retain because that's what makes it special here. I think you look at some of the most successful developments and they're not successful because they brought in the same brands everyone already has in their backyard. They're successful because they brought in brands and they brought in uses and a vibe that is one of a kind. And that's what we want to achieve here.
But just to continue, like I said, if the focus is just strictly thinking that Simi Valley is going to support the mall on its own, I think that's a misstep. And by many businesses that come here, I've been here since, gosh, almost 30 years. And I see it constantly being a business owner in town. I see it constantly where people come in from outside of Simi Valley thinking they know what Simi Valley is, and then they find out they don't. And that leaves a lot of empty spaces. You have a lot of businesses that come in that are new, hot business, that ends up eliminating another business that's a competitor, and all you have is kind of cannibalizing everybody else's. That's why you do see a lot of empty retail space around Simi Valley, because somebody comes in, they knock somebody else, and somebody comes in there, they knock somebody else. So I think my thought is for the mall to have some kind of outside thinking and the ability to have people come from the West Valley and other areas to come into Simi Valley, because it's a bedroom community full of families, and when they work in LA and they come home to Simi Valley, they're not necessarily looking to go out Monday through Thursday. You know, they're looking to do things on the weekends for sure, but Monday through Thursday, they're coming home late from work, they just spend all that time in traffic, getting back home to Simi Valley. The last thing they want to do is really go out, or they want something quick casual, you know, kind of deal.
Yeah, I think it's a great point, and while obviously we wanted to serve Simi, we do have intentions. I think the draw clearly could come from Moore Park, it could clearly come from Thousand Oaks, could clearly come from Porter Ranch in the West Valley as well. And so our intention is what we create here is impactful and it's meaningful and it creates buzz, and that would be that draw. I can take one more question. Go ahead.
You got kind of a two-parter. what's the time frame of this project, and do you have businesses already interested in coming? I mean, they told you, when you're ready, I'm ready to come in. So
Yeah, it's a great question. All right, so as far as timeline goes, 1 to 2 years probably would be that timeline to get started here.
To get started, or?
I mean, to start actually swinging hammers, I mean, it takes time with permits and all that. As far as businesses, yes, before we acquired the town center, we already had LOIs from retailers. We have more LOIs at this point from retailers. The most, the letter of intent, which is a retailer saying, we want to be here, here's the economic terms at which we can transact, and then we've countered multiple times, we'll say, okay, well, we can do it at these economic terms, and they've come back, so we can back that back and forth.
You intend to just start in 1 or 2 years. What's the time frame on that? I mean, we're looking at like a 5-year before this?
Yeah, probably about 5, 6 years till it's all said and done, would be my expectation. Construction takes a while right now. Generally what we say, and we've done a few of these, not, of this kind of scale, you're about a year for the owner of the property to do their work, and then you're about a year for a tenant to do their work to open up. So if we, build a building for, and I know I'm using national retailers as an example, and there will be a lot of local that are just using, BJ's as a name that people know, right? So if you bring in a BJ's, the landlord does their work to build the BJ space. That takes about a year, and then BJ's comes in and they have to bring in whatever it is, right? They have to build their kitchen, they have to build their tables, they have to put in the flooring, what have you, and that's about another year. So it's generally about 2 years. It depends how things go, but yeah, generally 2 years. But I think as far as the timeline for the total project, it would be about 5 years.
Thank you.
All right, I'll take one more, but that's it.
Any possibility of part of it could be an outlet mall to bridge that Oxnard Valley?
Yeah, I can certainly see that as a possibility. I think we're cognizant that we don't want to degrade the quality of the property by making it into an outlet mall. So not to say that it wouldn't be, or that there wouldn't be a portion that it would or wouldn't be, but I don't think we'd want to turn it into a true outlet property, and people just come and buy their stuff and get out. All right, well, thank you guys. Again, give me and I'll be here for a while after, and so if you want to come ask me questions, I'm happy to chat more, or if you want to give me a call, that's fine too. Thank you, though. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for all the attendance here today. Thanks for all our speakers. Any other questions on any of the other speakers? I'd also like to thank the Ranch 99.1 for hosting us at this venue. We intend to have additional meetings. Next one is April 9th. We're probably in the same location here, probably the same time and day. So look forward to seeing you there, and thank you very much, guys.